Welcome to Conservation Beyond the Cage, the official podcast of the Rare Species Conservatory Foundation. RSCF is a nonprofit organization specializing in breeding and recovery strategies for some of the world's rarest wildlife. Here, we go beyond headlines and hashtags, beyond exhibits and press releases, to bring you the truth about species conservation and the people behind the programs fighting every day to save what remains of nature. Each episode is a journey into the forests, the labs, the rescue centers, and the policy rooms where science, expertise, and courage intersect. We're here to inform, to enlighten, and to inspire a deeper understanding of what real conservation looks like, up close, unfiltered, and undeniably urgent. Because this isn't just about saving individual species, it's about saving wildlife and wild places. This is Conservation Beyond the Cage.
Hey everyone, I'm Karen and welcome back to Conservation Beyond the Cage, where we explore the issues facing wildlife conservation from behind the scenes.
And I'm Cassidy. Today we're going to talk about a tough topic, and one that we don't discuss nearly enough: mental health. Specifically, the emotional toll of working in animal care and wildlife conservation.
You know, there's always been a sort of a romantic notion about working with animals.
Yeah, like you're living in a Disney movie or something.
And for most of us, this work is a calling. You can't imagine doing anything else. But the fine print includes this job is physical, it's emotional, it's purpose-driven, but it's also exhausting, heartbreaking, and at times isolating.
Yeah, people see the cute animal videos or hear about exciting conservation efforts, and that's real. But what they don't see is what goes on behind the scenes. The burnout, long hours, and the physical fatigue that comes with the day-to-day long-term care these programs and animals require. Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's start with compassion fatigue. It's something that comes up all the time in our field. For those who don't know, it's the emotional exhaustion that comes from constant caregiving, especially when you're caring for animals that are highly specialized, aging, or endangered.
Absolutely. And we carry that emotional weight whether we're working in a zoo, a sanctuary, or out in the field. We don't just feed and clean, we worry, we advocate, we stay late, we mourn when animals decline or pass, and often we don't have time or tools to process any of it.
Right. There's this unspoken expectation that we're supposed to be strong all the time. But strength doesn't mean silence. Too many of us bottle up all that emotion and stress to our own detriment.
So true. And along with compassion fatigue comes grief and guilt. We have to talk about that because, let's be real here, if you work with animals in a captive setting, you're going to see animals live their entire lives in front of you, in some cases, birth to death. And when an animal passes, especially one you've cared for years, it's real grief. Deep, personal, sometimes traumatic.
It's all of those things and more, and even harder for public-facing facilities like zoos. Sometimes it feels like the public thinks animals in our care live forever, that nothing ever dies. But loss is a constant part of this job, and when it happens, it hits us hard. We grieve deeply, even if we have to keep smiling for the next tour or feeding, and we're not supposed to talk about it. Like somehow that reflects poorly on the organization you work for.
I mean, not only do you have to deal with how you feel as an animal caregiver, you also have to deal with public pushback that can often be downright insensitive. And I know you've dealt with this personally, right?
Oh yeah, and more than once. I remember losing one of our older primates a couple years ago. It hit me like losing a friend, but I came to work the next day like nothing happened. There wasn't time to stop.
You're talking about Mo, right? I know he was something really special.
Yeah, Mo was one of the oldest golden lion tamarins in North America. He lived at RSCF for decades, and he was such a cool dude and lived a wonderful long life. We called him the Robert Redford of GLTs because he was so handsome. Everyone loved him on staff and online. And seeing him age and eventually decline was tough for all of us. And sharing his passing with our online supporters was really difficult.
I can only imagine. When an animal dies, especially one you've known for years, it hits hard. We form bonds, We work with them every single day. We know their quirks, moods, their history, their favorite foods, and enrichment. Then you have to formulate a narrative for the public on top of all that.
Yeah, how do you cram 24 years of life into an Instagram post about a monkey?
24 years? That's incredible and a testament to the wonderful care he had with your team at RSCF.
And let's not forget about the guilt that comes with loss. It's brutal. No matter the circumstance, you ask yourself, did I miss something? Could I have done more? Even if you did everything right, you question it.
On top of all that, we're rarely given the time or space to process that grief. It's back to work, back to feeding rounds like nothing happened. That kind of suppression takes a toll.
And you don't forget, I miss Mo.
Well, that's okay. He was a big part of your life. You never forget animals like that.
And grief takes a physical toll on top of what's already a rough job on the body. Keeping healthy both mentally and physically is essential, and it ain't easy.
Oh, yeah, showing up every day no matter how you feel. Carrying hay bales in the rain, building enclosures, unloading tons of feed. It's no joke.
Back pain, sunburns, bug bites, bruises, stress fractures sound familiar, and we just keep pushing through because the animals depend on us.
But physical exhaustion plus emotional stress? That's burnout's best friend. Karen, you know what makes it harder? When the people outside your field don't get it.
Totally. The missed holidays, the birthdays you don't show up for, the 6 a.m. shifts on Christmas morning, and people say, can't you just take the day off? My family has an endless list of events I've missed, and I feel really bad about that.
Or the classic, when are you going to get a real job? That one hurts.
Okay, that's where I draw the line. What we do is real. It's skilled, scientific, and specialized. But because it doesn't fit the 9-to-5 mold, people don't always respect it.
And that disconnect creates a lot of internal tension. You want to be there for family, but you also know you're needed where you are. I think one of the hardest things to do in our field is finding balance between work and home life. It's so rough.
Well, I think it's really important to not feel like you have to justify your work to family, friends, or partners. I try to share my life as much as I can with family. I always encourage staff to invite family and friends for a tour, show them what we do, let them see the passion and love for the job. If they still don't get it, while that sucks, you have to be confident enough in your path in life to continue anyway. It's okay to remind them you need their support, whether they agree with you or not.
Yeah, family support is so important, especially when dealing with all the emotional and physical challenges this career path brings. And working for that balance, it's hard, but necessary. You have to be able to find space and time for yourself and your family and friends. Make the most of your days off while constantly juggling.
Yep, you become really good at compartmentalizing.
Now we have to take a step back and talk about the big picture stuff. The part no one really prepares you for or talks about enough, when you realize how stacked the odds are. Conservation isn't just animal care, it's politics. And sometimes recognizing and dealing with corruption, greed, and even crime.
This is the real behind the curtain stuff. If you truly care about the species you work with, you want to learn all you can about what's happening to them in the wild. So you pour your heart into saving a species, building breeding programs, doing field work, lobbying for protection. And meanwhile, that same species is being poached or trafficked faster than you can intervene. Speaking as an admin for a conservation breeding and recovery center, the challenges are huge. Funding for programs is at an all-time low. In-country governments change. There's graft and corruption. And the absolute worst, seeing species you love used as pawns in political or economic games.
Yeah, there is so much more to this job than just feeding the animals. It can be soul-crushing, especially when you know the animals don't have time for bureaucracy. You feel helpless, like your life's work is being undone in front of you. How do you work through that? I mean, I've had days where I sat in the car after work and thought, why are we doing this if nothing changes? That despair is real, and it's dangerous if you don't have a way to work through it.
Cassidy, that's the part people don't see. How much of our mental health is tied not just to our animals, but to this overwhelming sense that we're losing ground. But we can't stop. We just can't because we're the only chance these species have.
And while all those plates are spinning, it's wrapped up in a culture that glorifies overwork. If you're not breaking yourself for the job, are you even dedicated? The field is understaffed as it is, so we pick up the slack. Always.
Yeah, I haven't taken a day off in a month, gets applause. But I'm taking a mental health day, still raises eyebrows.
That has to change. Because exhausted, burnt out caregivers can't give their best. And they can't stick around long term either. For everyone out there listening, this episode isn't an endless list of complaints. We're just trying to give voice to the incredible difficulties animal care staff face on the daily and still show up, still care, still give all they can. And to the facilities out there that recognize these challenges and support their teams, thank you.
Cassidy, I couldn't have said it better myself. Self-care isn't selfish, it's survival. So let's turn this around. What helps? How do we work through all of this and come out still believing in ourselves and the work?
Well, I think that if you can afford it, therapy can be a game changer. Having someone to talk to who doesn't think grieving for a monkey or funding fatigue is weird, that's huge.
And don't feel weird about it. I mean, it's 2025. There should be absolutely zero stigma attached to therapy, especially when you can do it virtually. And there are online groups hosted by zookeepers, field workers, and veterinarians dedicated to talking about all of this. Having a platform to share stories and ask questions is a lifeline. And you can even stay anonymous if you want to. Facebook and YouTube are two more great sources.
Agree 100%. And finding community, coworkers who get it, can be life-saving. Even just being able to say, that sucked, without judgment, makes a difference. Grabbing a beer and nachos after work with the crew to debrief and unload is not only good for the soul, it's good for the team as a whole.
Let's not forget to take this to the top. Leadership matters. Management that not only supports, but encourages staff wellness. Mental health days, team debriefs, flexible scheduling, being available to talk and listen is so important. Those things aren't extras, they're essential.
And we need to speak up more. Not just when things go wrong, but when we need help, when we need a break, when we need each other. Keeping these feelings bottled up will only lead to more stress, more depression, more fatigue. Give your feelings the voice they deserve.
Absolutely. Never be afraid to speak up. Your feelings are valid. Your needs matter.
Okay, let's take a positive turn here. Let's talk about something that can feel a little cliche in this field, but it's vital. Hope.
Yes, it's easy to get swallowed by everything that's broken, but sometimes you have to step back. Look at the animal right in front of you, that tamarin, that bongo calf, that egg in the incubator. If not for you, they may not exist. I'm going to quote Jane Goodall here. She says, "Hope is often misunderstood. People tend to think that it is simply passive, wishful thinking. I hope something will happen, but I'm not going to do anything about it." This is indeed the opposite of real hope, which requires action and engagement.
Jane Goodall. What an icon and inspiration. Imagine working in this field for over 60 years and still maintaining a powerful, hopeful, and purposeful view. We need to carry that forward and remember that in many cases, if not for us, these animals would have no chance at all. We're not saving the whole world, but we are buying them time. We're holding the line until the world catches up.
And while we do, realize that there are success stories out there. In the tsunami of news cycles these days, there are examples of species brought back from the brink, forests regrown, laws passed. The reality is bad news always seems to get more press, but good news is out there. You just have to dig for it, stay informed, follow news outlets that cover this field like Mongabee and The Guardian.
And you know, Karen, sometimes just giving one animal a life that's safe, enriched, and dignified, that's enough for that day.
So true. Hope isn't about pretending it's easy. It's about choosing to stay in the fight even when it's hard. In fact, especially when it's hard.
And when you can't find hope, borrow it from your team, from the animals, from the fact that the work does matter, even if the results may take decades to show.
If you're listening and work in animal care, feeling overwhelmed, know this. You're not weak, and you're definitely not alone. This work is beautiful, but it's also brutal.
Yup, you can love your job and still struggle. You can be passionate and still need rest. That doesn't make you less committed, it makes you human.
I really hope there are people listening that work in leadership roles. Please make space for your staff to share and be heard. Mental health support isn't a luxury, it's a necessity.
Karen, I know you'll agree with me when I say conservation isn't just about saving species. It's about sustaining the people who are doing the saving.
So true. In a perfect world, we'd all be kind to ourselves and each other. Step outside the checklist. Look at the animals you're lucky to work and interact with. And remember why you started. Your compassion, while it may exhaust you, makes you a better caregiver, and the animals benefit from that quality of care every day.
We've touched on a lot today and we don't have all the answers, but we do offer the space to voice how you feel with zero judgment. There's a lot still to do and to discuss. On that note, we'll wrap things up here. If you've got questions, thoughts, or just want to share what helps you get through the tough days, Karen and I would really love to hear from you.
We're dropping some mental health resources in the show notes. I highly recommend the website Conservation Optimism. And as always, you can find more at rarespecies.org. And please remember how much you are needed and how much your work matters.
Until next time, this is Conservation Beyond the Cage.